right, so we are reviewing you over the slopes of parallel and perpendicular lines. Let's start by discussing what we know about parallel and perpendicular, okay? Parallel lines, let's do the symbol. What is the symbol for parallel? Parallel, perpendicular. My smartboard messed up a little bit. See how I added that little thing at the bottom? That's weird. All right, so symbol for parallel, symbol for perpendicular. Let's do a diagram. What would a diagram of parallel lines look like, or a sketch? Parallel lines. And perpendicular lines. Okay, remember we add arrows to show they're parallel. We add a 90-degree marking to show they're perpendicular. So now we're going to compare and contrast what their slopes look like. What do their slopes look like now? So, you've already learned, I hope you remember, yep, parallel lines have the same slope. Good job. So I want you to write equal slope. And perpendicular lines have, you're right again, reciprocal. There we go. Cool. Ta-da! That's the lesson. So then we're going to apply it and solve some problems. Since we know that perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes, we need to make sure we can write the opposite reciprocal given a slope. So I want you to write down all 6 of these for example 1 and find the opposite reciprocal of all 6. Go. Beautiful, guys. Perfect. Let's go over each one. So remember, opposite reciprocal means 2 things. Opposite means if it's positive, make it negative, and if it's negative, make it positive. Opposite means switch the signs. Switch the signs. Reciprocal means flip the fraction. So opposite means positive to negative, negative to positive. Reciprocal means flip the fraction. So negative 7/8, you flip it, you get 8/7. You change the sign, you get positive. Check. 4. A lot of people get confused by just the number 4. Make sure you put 4 over 1. And then when you flip, you get 1/4, and you change the sign, and you get negative. C, negative 1/10. Now, you flip and switch it. Would you get it wrong if you put 10 over 1? What do y'all think? Would you get it wrong? Because when you flip 1/10, you get 10 over 1. I wouldn't mark it wrong, no, but I wouldn't love it because it's not fully simplified. But I would definitely not mark it wrong. Now, would I mark an answer like this wrong? You would lose points for that one because that one's not fully simplified. But that one matters more to me being simplified than 10 over 1. That one doesn't bother me. Okay, anyways. D. Okay, so what is the opposite reciprocal of 1? So you flip it and you switch it. Well, 1 over 1 flipped is 1 over 1, and then you change the sign. But I don't want you to put negative 1 over 1. I want you to put the simplified answer, negative 1. Very good. There is an opposite reciprocal to 1. Guys, let me take a detour. It's a parent function. Y equals X. So Y equals X looks like this, right? And then Y equals negative X looks like this. Are those 2 functions perpendicular? Yes. What's the slope of Y equals X? The slope is 1. What's the slope of Y equals negative X? The slope is negative 1. So those are like the parent functions, the inverse. Okay. Part E, 13 over 8, you flip and switch, negative 8 over 13, and then F. Put it over 1 if you're confused, and then you flip it to get 1/2, and you change the sign to make it positive. Beautiful. What do you think? True or false? Lines are perpendicular if the product of their slopes is negative 1. Try a few from the other example. So, what does product mean, by the way? Product means multiply, right? Yeah? So what do you get when you multiply those? Well, if you remember from algebra, the 8's cancel and you get 1. And the 13's cancel and you get 1. And 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. What about for this? Those are perpendicular slopes. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. What about this? Negative 4 times 1/4. Well, the 4's cancel, and you're just left with negative 1. Cool. Ooh. What about if a line's slope is undefined? Can you multiply undefined? Ooh. So is this false because we found a counterexample? So as long as we're not talking about undefined slopes, because you can't really multiply that, let's go on the next slide and then we'll come back to this one and talk about it. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, I want you to consider the line with equation x equals 10. Write it in your notes. X equals 10. What's the slope of that line? X equals 10. I can't visualize that. And I know I can't plug it into my calculator. I can't plug that into y equals because it's x equals. So I better graph it. When you can't visualize what's going on, you graph it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the x-axis. Because x equals 10. There we go. I'm going to go over 10. And what this equation is saying is go to 10 and stay there forever. You can't move. U equal 10 at all times. U equal 10 at all times in the future going this way. And U equal 10 at all times going this way. Ooh. What's the slope of that line? Yes. Undefined. Is that line parallel or perpendicular to the y-axis? Good. Parallel to the y-axis. Is that line parallel or perpendicular to the x-axis? Perpendicular, right? So the line x equals 10, isn't that weird? The line x equals 10 is perpendicular to the x-axis, not parallel. Okay. What is the slope of a line that x equals 10 is perpendicular to? So, like, what's the opposite reciprocal of undefined? Good. Good. 0. So, undefined and 0 are opposite reciprocals. And if you remember yesterday, we had a problem that ended up being the slope was 14 over 0. And we tried to put that in our calculator and we got error. But what if you write the opposite reciprocal of that? What is 0 divided by negative 14? 0 divided by anything is 0. So the slope of this guy is undefined. The slope of this guy is 0. So really you can find the reciprocal of it. When you do the reciprocal, it actually works. So it's kind of cool. Okay, we have one more, and then we need to take our quiz. I want you to do this one. You're going to do a lot more of this on your homework, but I just wanted to make sure you saw one in the lesson. Parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So what we need to find is their slopes. And we locate slopes the easiest when they're in y equals mx plus b form, or m is the slope. So on that first equation, done. Slope is 4. Now, on the second equation, we need to solve for y, or we can't do anything. The slope is not 8. Are you listening? Slope is not 8. Okay, let's move this guy over. So negative 2y equals negative 8x minus 6. Divide by negative 2. Y equals, what's that? Negative 8 divided by negative 2. 4. X plus, I don't even care what the y-intercept is. Doesn't affect my problem. The slope of the first one was 4. The slope of the second one was 4. So the answer is, parallel. Okay. Okay, another one, parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Remember, our goal here, we're going to talk about standard form on Tuesday, don't worry. Our goal here is to get them both in slope-intercept form because, like we said on the last slide, that is how we determine the slope. So we already have the slope to this one. It is 2/3. We need to find the slope to this one. So we will subtract 3x from both sides and divide by 2. Y equals -3 has x. We don't care what that is. We always keep our slopes as fractions. If I wrote that as a decimal, -1.5, I can't compare that to my other fraction. I want to be able to know, are they opposite reciprocals or are they not? Check both things. Are they opposite? Positive, negative. Check. Are they reciprocal? 2/3, 3/2. Check. Since they're opposite and reciprocal, we can say that it is perpendicular. Find the value of x so that the line through x3, 2, 6 is perpendicular to the line through 0, 2, 6, 6. When you don't know what to do on these problems, begin with slope. Slope will always lead you to the right answer. So, I don't really know what to do, but I am going to start by finding the slope of this line because I know both of the values. I know both of the coordinates, so I'm going to find the slope. Slope, delta y over delta x. So, 6 minus 2 divided by 6 minus 0. Cool. 2/3. All right, so now that I know the slope, I'm going to force that slope to be an opposite reciprocal because I want my line to be perpendicular. So I take that slope, I flip it and switch it, opposite reciprocal. My new slope is -3/2. That is the answer. That is the slope, but I don't know my x value yet. So now I have to write the slope formula with these two coordinates. So I will do 3 minus 6 over x minus 2. Y minus y divided by x minus x. Let's see. 3 minus 6 is -3. So I'm going to cross multiply. 2 times -3, -6, and cross multiply. -3x plus 6. Kind of a weird problem, huh, guys? Okay, subtract 6 from both sides. There we go. It's not going to be 0. That's good. So we have -12 equals -3x. Divide by -3 divided by -3. X is 4. -12 divided by -3. So x is 4. And let's summarize what we did. Step 1. We found the slope of the line that was given to us. Then we found the opposite reciprocal to force the slope to be perpendicular. Then we did what we learned yesterday, and we found the missing coordinate given the slope. We set up two fractions, and we cross multiply.